it's me, Igorro. Welcome to the Horror of Aurora. This is part 2. A look at more monster models from Aurora. A big business back in the 1960s. So let's take a looky-see and see what else is in my box of Aurora model kits. Ooh, okay. Looky here. It is the witch. Yes, like I said, they're quite dusty. They're from my old home down in Aberdeen, Transylvania, where I'm originally from. Anyway, this is the witch. This is another unique model because, again, it's not based on any movie. It's just an old hag witch. Interesting thing about the witches always look like hags. Hags in rags, right? Way back from the era of Macbeth, Shakespeare's play. They had hags that were witches. Only when The Wizard of Oz came out in 1939 did the witch really have a black hat, a black cape, and a black costume, and a broom, and was green. That was the classic witch, just like Carlos Frankenstein. It changed the look of witches forever. But anyway, I digress. This one is very much like the Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein, The Witch, and The Forgotten Prisoner of Castlemare all came out a little later after all the other Aurora kits. And only The Bride is one that's actually from a film, but these two, The Witch and Forgotten Prisoner, are both not from films. So this one, I would like to repaint, and I will show you what I've done. I've only been able to actually reconstruct the Bride of Frankenstein, fix her up a little bit, and I'll show her at the end what she looks like now compared to how I showed her here when she was all dusty, or how I think Cool Dude Ghoul showed her. This is a great, though, lots of details. I love the bats hanging here for her cauldron, a little bit of bat. You never could have enough bat wing in your soup, right? And then he's got some other bottles here and lots of nice details. Again, this one focuses more on the background, not just like the Frankenstein, the first Aurora kit that came out, which was the focus of just the monster, with just a gravestone, some grass. But basically, these are, again, dimensionally smaller kits, more detail in the backgrounds. But that is the witch, and she is a beaut. Not much more to say about her other than I need to clean her up, and I would like to kind of get a little more kind of color in her a little bit in here and stuff, but I'll show you her when I repaint it. It could be a while though, because I'm kind of busy. Got a lot of Igorro stuff to do. You know, I've got shows to host and stuff, but I will get it to it eventually. But this is the witch. She's a beaut. Oops, almost dropped her. Ah. Oh, ha, ha. Yeah. This is one of my faves. One of my favorites. How appropriate that he's dusty. Oh boy, is he ever patchy. Yeah, he's got dust. But he is the mummy. And this one, I believe, let me check. Yeah, this is an original. This is a 1960, gosh, I want to say 63 Aurora. The Horror of Aurora. The Mummy. Now, there are some things that happened with my mummy. Since he is so old, I got him when I was just a little teeny tyke, you know. He was pretty, but he lost a couple fingers here. Little fingers on, but he lost a couple of fingers. But he's a mummy, he's not feeling it. The thing I like about this mummy is, in the 60s, this was the one they focused on. Now this one also by James Wama, the guy who painted the cover of it. This is when he had to stick to it looking exactly like the model kit. Because as I said earlier, the Dracula one doesn't look like the kit, the cover is way different. And someone complained about it, of course, and said, hey, you gotta keep the kit cover looking like the kit inside. So this is one that looks exactly like the cover. And if you notice the cover in the Dracula Aurora kit, it's got bats in the background in the castle wall. It's clearly from Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein. But the model looks completely different. But in this one, this mummy, if you look like the kit's background, it doesn't have anything. It's just, I believe, like a reddish background or something. But the kit is exactly right. This one I like. It's I like the paintwork I did on it. I like the eye. the first time I think I painted him, I put a lot of blood all over it. And I get that, and yeah, yeehaw. But let's face it, there wasn't a lot of blood in the night. Blood. There was no blood. But there wasn't much blood either in the 40s, right? So I stuck to him more looking like Karas. And again, this isn't the Karloff mummy. Because Karloff, you never really saw him as the mummy all wrapped up. You just saw his hand and his rags pulling out of the station, right? And then he was Imhotep. But it changed to Karas, and a lot of people don't like the universal mummies as much as the original mummy, but I love them, and I understand why they used for this Lon Chaney Jr. model more for all the marketing in the 60s. You know, famous monsters, he was all over the place on the cover. The buttons, the shirts, the models, everything was Karas, or Karas, tomato. But this mummy is great. I think the only thing I might consider redoing is painting the cobra more of a greenish tone. I'll have to look it up. I'm not really sure what color cobras were. But anyway, I do like this mummy, and I like the face of the mummy. Again, they're very dusty, and even when I blow them off, they still have a lot of dust on them. But I do plan on cleaning them. It's a very tedious process. I have to clean them with a Q-tip dipped in water. If anybody knows a cleaner way or a quicker way to clean them, I've also thinking of using one of those air compressors to clean them off. But anyway, there he is, the mummy. And again, this mummy is the one that took over the monster movie, Universal Monster Market. He was everywhere. I like all the rag work, and you know, I don't mind the mummy being slow. People say, oh, he's so slow, but my aunt told me when she was a little decker, and she was young when the mummy came out, she said it terrified her. She said when she was sleeping, she could hear the dragging of the mummy coming through the woods. And yeah, wouldn't that be freaky? Because it seems like no matter how slow he is, he always seems to get there right on time. And bullets don't help. We've seen that, right? They blasted him with bullets. Oh, yeah, I like this one too. This one is one of my faves. Oh, he needs some glue work. He's loose. Boy, this is Dr. Jekyll as Mr. Hyde. Now, what I love about this one is, first of all, for some reason they were able to skip through this. This is not a Universal Jekyll and Hyde. I don't think Universal even did a Jekyll and Hyde. And this one was done by Paramount. This is the Frederick March version. For some reason, this one didn't have the same problems that the Hunchback had. Remember we talked about how the Hunchback cover, they changed it several times, it ended up being the bell ringer. They never seemed to have this problem with Jekyll and Hyde, even though clearly this is the Frederick March version. But I love this Jekyll. It is so well done. Now, a lot of people add their own little chemicals and things to the bottles. You know, on the table they add their own extra bottles and stuff. I stuck with what they gave me, and I really like this one. He's loose, so I have to re-glue him. And again, he's really dusty. But this is an interesting one because this is a version that when I was a child, a young Igorro, I wanted to watch Jekyll and Hyde on TV. It was never available. I only saw him through Famous Monsters of Film and this kit. I never saw it because back in the 60s and even the 70s, I believe, and probably maybe, I don't know when, maybe the late 70s or even 80s, someone knows, MGM had all the television rights. So the only version they ever played was the Spencer Tracy version because Paramount wasn't able to show theirs because MGM had some kind of rights over it. I don't know what exactly the legality of it all was, but I was frustrated because I've never been a big fan of the Spencer Tracy. Not that I don't think Spencer Tracy's a good actor, I do, but I just thought this one looked so much cooler, so much more iconic. You know, this is the Hyde we think of, right? This kind of Neanderthal, really cool looking Hyde. And in the movie, you'll notice his eyes get more and more, they start to pull, just like Lon Chaney Sr. did. They pull his eyes down, so he starts out, he always looks not too handsome, he always looks like a Neanderthal. But if you notice the eye work, he gets worse and worse looking as he transforms. The more he transforms, each transformation, the worse he looks. Toward the end, he looks really hideous. Not that he was, you know, a handsome man to begin with. But I do like this version of Jekyll and Hyde because I like how they got him as the doctor with the lab kit and stuff, but yet they show you him turning into Hyde. But again, these are really awesome kits. And this is one of my absolute favorites. I really do love this version of the Aurora Jekyll and Hyde. This is the version that I'm glad they did, and kudos for them for doing this. I wanted to show you what I did with the bride. Here she is now. She's been dusted off, and the parts that were loose have now been re-glued, so that she can live her life fully for about 6 seconds before the monster blows up the lab, that is. So that is our wrap-up for today. I'm keeping it short, so take care and I'll see you soon. Be creepy and monster on.